Well, hello and welcome to this very brand new episode of Indie Zombie. I'm Jordan, and today I'm talking about Infinity Beyond the Mind. Infinity Beyond the Mind, an action platform game. You are a superpowered person, part of a duo, but your friend was taken by this evil empire, even though there is a co-op mode. I wonder how that would work, in terms of the plot, anyway. You run from one stage to the other, fighting soldiers, tanks, and turrets. You can simply ignore them and keep running until you get to spots where you have an area of incoming enemies. You have a standard attack, a dash, that is very useful for dodging or evading attacks, lasers, and getting across gaps in the levels. You also have a Mega Man X-styled wall jump and a double jump. This game is fun and challenging, especially as it keeps going on with certain platforming and then on some levels where you just can't use your wall jumping ability and having to rely on your dash ability to be able to progress against longer gaps. At the beginning, you have some turrets that you can use for the enemy rush sections, but the turrets aren't really great to use. When they get hit, you can't fire for a few seconds, so it just makes it a little bit harder. You have a stamina meter for your dash too, so you are limited and can't use it if your meter is drained. It takes about 3 to 5 seconds to refill. As the game goes on and you beat bosses, you'll get new upgrades every few levels. A powerful mid-air attack after you double jump that also uses your stamina meter, great for taking out helicopters and jets. Your main attack becomes stronger, so strong that you can destroy enemy bullets. During flying stages, you get a charge shot and can dash up and down and diagonally. You just can't dash in those directions during normal stages. Aside from ground troops with different weapons and attacks, you'll get some trucks that drop off troops, motorcycles that can be destroyed. Bits like this really remind me of something like Metal Slug. When they first run in, they can hurt you, but you have a pretty big health bar, which is nice. Sometimes enemies will drop health packs, or you can find some in the levels, and some are nice enough to be at the end of a level, along with extra lives, and you can find some in the levels too. I also found a spot with an item that increased my health. And I did try looking around in some later levels for any other hidden items, but all I kept finding were either healing items or some one-ups. Boss fights span from pretty good, challenging, hard, or too easy. But the game has a really good length, and with a decent amount of checkpoints, lives, and endless continues. Only a few bosses have 2 forms, and almost all of them really make you have to use everything you've learned. I'm not sure what's the hardest one, but definitely the later boss fights get harder, along with the levels. Some levels have 2 to 3 sections, and if you make it to the next section and die, you begin at the beginning of that section. Same with when you're at a boss fight. Unless you run out of lives, then you start back at the beginning. And some later levels get longer too, almost making it nerve-wracking at a time with the proper platforming. Like this ice level, because you can't wall jump. I had a lot of times with these thin platforms, some enemies or the helicopters knocking me back and getting me killed. Frustrating. I do sometimes wish that some of the longer later levels had more checkpoints, just so I didn't have to repeat or go through some of those platform sections again. What I think is probably the weakest aspect about this game are the flying sections. That's only because you get a railgun with a charge shot that overheats, so you're very limited on your shots. Your charge shot is very powerful. There are not a lot of these. The very first one, you are on a flying vehicle. In later stages, you can get knocked back so hard that you just can't recover by simply jumping. If you could dash up or diagonally, that would be so much better. And in the last level, you have this instant death trap that is for some reason a bitch to get past. It just doesn't feel fair. But only here near the end. You can get past these things. It doesn't break the game, but does feel like it makes it a tad too hard at times. The music is very good, captures the mood for each level and boss fight too. Overall, I really like this game and cannot recommend it enough. If you have any interest in it or even like this type of a game, do certainly check it out. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Give this video a like or a subscribe if you enjoyed it. I would really appreciate it. Support me on Patreon. All links are down in the description below. And of course, special thanks to my editor, Nicholas, for helping me out on these projects. I always appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.